What's good, gentlemen? Hope you guys are good. Today, I would like to talk about why you should possibly stay home. Like, you might be sitting there thinking to yourself, okay, look, man, I'm grown. I got myself a job. I want to leave home as soon as possible so I can get my party on. I can have a place to myself and all that, right? Because I'm an adult now. I got a job. I'm getting my own money. I just can't wait to leave my parents' home and go live the dream and live my life the way I want to. I would like to suggest you stay home. Got your first job, and if your first job is in the same space as where your parents live, or your parents' brother or sister live, or your cousin and your uncle, I would suggest that instead of going to get your own flat, house, whatever, and living there, perhaps you consider staying with your parents, especially if you're not married. If you're not married, you're not living with your girlfriend, and you're single, why don't you just stay home with your parents? Now, you might be thinking, oh, y'all, man, I don't want to stay with my mom. She's always bugging. I don't want to stay with my dad. He's always on something. I want to get away from these people. But what if you consider the following? If you just stay home with your father or your mother or your parentals, whether they're your biological or not, or whatever it is, for the first 2 to 3 years that you're working, that you don't have to pay rent, and instead you buy groceries at the house, you make sure you get some services in, you clean the yard, whatnot, you make sure the window gets fixed, you help pay some cable costs, you pay for the internet, whatever it is, and instead stay in that place for 2 to 3 years and take that rent and put it into your savings account. What difference would that make to your life? Now, a lot of you might be thinking like, well, it wouldn't be really a big difference, but think about it. I think to myself that if I had spent the first 2 to 3 working years, 4 years even, because I mean, single guy, whatever, if I had stayed at home with my parents during that time getting the salary that I was getting then, it still would have made a huge difference. Huge. Donald Trump, huge difference in my financial prospects, because it would have given me capital. It would have put money in my account that I can use for whatever I choose to use it for, to push myself forward, whether it's more education, savings for rainy days, or to invest in some assets, or to buy a property before I even leave my parents' house and rent it out. It can be a small little flat. I rent it out to somebody and they pay my mortgage for me. And that allows me, first, I own an asset and I still get savings because they're paying most of that mortgage. I'm paying a percentage of it, but I'm still living at home with my parents. And that gives me a huge advantage over anybody else who is in a financial position where they start from zero. They go out there and their first paycheck has to pay bills, while yours has to go to savings and puts you in a position of financial peace or financial control and mastery. Because what happens is when you have a large cash amount in your bank, it means that you're in a position where you don't have to move when the world says you have to. You don't have to move right now because your boss says he's going to fire you tomorrow morning. So what? He fires you tomorrow morning, or you're not happy with the job. It gives you the space to be able to look for work that suits you, or not to feel pressured to jump at things for the sake of finance because you just need that money right now. You got no choice. Having that huge lump sum, depending on where you live in the world, that money can be anywhere from $1,000 to $10,000 to some people even $20,000 to even $100,000, depending on where you live and what kind of job you got. Now imagine that you got this large amount of cash in your account. This is money that you can't use for holidays, you can't use for clothes, you can't use for any discretionary shopping or expenditures. This is money you got to use for serious things in life. This is startup money. This is your get it correct and get it right in life money. This is not money you're going to go out and go buy yourself a car with, okay? This is money that you got to keep. And preferentially or additionally, I would suggest that if your parents have an old car, an old, I don't know, Honda Prelude or whatever it is, You buy that car from them. You take their car and say, I'm gonna use this car that you guys maybe don't use much anymore, and I'm gonna use that instead of buying another car, or I'll pay you for this car and I'll pay far less than I would if I bought a new car, with the intention of getting your savings to a point where they're so high that you don't have to worry about living check to check ever again for the rest of your life, because that's not money you're going to go and invest on a stock exchange. That's just money for rainy day fund, a year to 2 years worth of saving that just makes sure you're in a position, A, never to feel pressured financially, B, to have options in life, and C, to be able to purchase new skills. Imagine that you went to community college and you got yourself a job and you saved a lot of money staying at home with your parents or your grandmother or whatever, grandparents, and you made enough money into that savings account. Let's say you put 60,000 US dollars into that savings account over 3 to 4 years. That now means you're in a position to be able to take yourself up to an Ivy League school if you so wish. You could say, you know what, now I'm going to enroll myself at Harvard. I'm going to use this time to get the money together to enroll myself at Harvard, to enroll myself at Princeton or whatever, depending on what the amount you've saved is, and be able to upskill myself to be able to be in a different bracket of earning and take myself up to the next level of the game, in the game of economics and finance, which is what it is, right? So staying home is hands down one of the biggest advantages that you can get over your peers, and you can get over many people who have to go out there and start paying rent from their first paycheck. Start paying for car payments from their fourth or fifth or sixth payment because they just waited for long enough to get that bank record history and then they went and bought a car. You don't need that. Yes, it's nice to jump to buying a car that fast. It's nice to jump to buying, to going to live in a space by yourself that fast. But there is a cost. You lose all that leverage, all that advantage you could have just by staying home with your mom and listening to her nag a little longer, listening to your dad say, clean the yard a little longer. All that puts you in a position where you are able to have a financial future that is amazing. You're able to do stuff that you wouldn't be able to because you've saved that money. You could even put in a clause into your savings where you say, you know what, I'm gonna save for 2-3 years. Then I'm gonna save for a little bit longer. I'm gonna stay with my parents for a little bit longer. Then I'm gonna leave and go live on my own. But I'm gonna save enough that I'm gonna take a holiday between saving for 3 years. I'm gonna go to Hawaii, I'm gonna go to Bali, I'm gonna go to the Bahamas, I'm gonna go to Scotland, I'm gonna go to Spain, I'm gonna go to North Africa, whatever it is. I'm gonna go on that holiday. When I come back, I'm gonna start living on my own. You could do that if you take the right steps in the beginning of your financial history. I mean, I would be like, yo, I look at it and I say, I would have saved years. I would have saved so much time. I would be so much better off if just in that first 4 years or 3 years, I didn't have to pay rent. A big difference would have been made in my life. So I'm saying to you guys that if you're in a position where you can't stay home and save money, especially in these COVID times, you never know, uncertainty is always out there. Save that money. Put yourself in a better financial position to be able to make the moves that you would like to make. Yes, people around you are going to be like, but you've been working for 3 years and you still stay with your moms. I know, but I got a plan. I know what I'm doing and why I'm doing it and where I'm going. That's why I'm staying with my moms. I got a plan for my future. I got a plan for my life, and it involves taking this path. So it's just an idea. You can use it or not use it. It may be functional for you. It may not be functional. Maybe your parents are just not the type of people that you can stand for another day or whatever. But if you are in a position where you can do it, it could make all the difference in your life. So it's just an idea. Just trying to share with you. Until next time, do more, be more, become more on your purpose.